Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
High in the thin air of Mexico City, where the skyline meets roar and history echoes off the grandstands, lies the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Standing more than 2,200 meters above sea level, this is a track where altitude steals power and bumps steal rhythm. From the scream down the three-quarter-mile front straight to the stadium section of Foro Sol, or the iconic Peraltada turn that leads into the pit straight, every corner demands bravery and precision. With the Brickyard behind us and Europe in the rear view, this is Mexico City. This is round 5 of the Extreme Motorsports miniMite Sports Car Challenge. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and joining me in the announce booth for tonight's 60-minute carrera is Larry Lefty McLeod. And of course, let's not forget Jim Cunningham, giving you all the best views of tonight's action. On a circuit that hosted this weekend's Grand Prix, where the crowd's roar still lingers in the stadium section and the engines fight for every inch of grip in thin air, the field now shifts gears. Strategy matters, momentum matters more. Precision is everything, Larry.
It is. You need to be precise around here. And yes, Greg, the thin air, I feel it already. I'm going to be a little bit lightheaded all night long. But that's what you get here in the high altitude of Mexico City. Or maybe it's just the smog. I'm not sure. But it is a beautiful day in the sim. Beautiful day for some racing at a track that's really new to the sim. Really new to a lot of these drivers, even though perhaps you've been watching it with Formula One on TV. But not the same when you get to go and throw your own, whether it be your GT4 or your LMP3 around it. It is a very different thing, and you got to learn it quickly. We talked about this in the past with new tracks. Those who put in the time typically rise to the top. We'll see if that's our perennial winners or if we get some surprises that pop up and somebody that maybe puts it on the front row without normally in that spot.
Well, I'm already looking, Larry, as we've got our drivers out for their 15-minute qualifying session, and we've only got about about 5 minutes remaining. Our leaders in each of our 3 classes after 4 rounds, well, they are currently the fastest drivers in qualifying. Let's quickly take a look at the 3 different classes that we've got running. First is our LMP3 class, headed up right now by Josh Chinsky, who's working his 2nd flying lap. And if we can move over to Mr. Chinsky, there we go. And like all of our LMP3 drivers, he is driving his Ligier, and they have the blue number boards on them, blue windshield banners, etc. And of course, they look very different from our GT3 cars, led for the moment in GT3 Pro by Leo Dragota, who just completed his 4th and final flying lap, working his in-lap now. He's your provisional pole sitter in the class in his Orion Porsche. And all of our GT3 Pro racers, they'll have the Ricmotech red number boards on the sides of their cars, red mirrors, red windshield banners, and end plates on the wings. And they will be, you'll be able to tell them from our AM drivers, like Dale Maxwell, currently working his final flying lap in his Ford Mustang. Dale, like all of our AM drivers, they've got the green number boards on the sides of the cars, mirrors, windshield banners, and end plates on their wings. And this past week in practice, although Josh Chinsky looks like he's going to come away with our LMP3 pole, it was Zach Herbert, your fastest driver on track. In the GT4 class, it was Leo Dragota, your fastest driver during the practice. And at the moment, with only 2 drivers in GT4 remaining to take their final flying laps, we've got Robert Schwenkler in his Wrong Stuff McLaren and Eric Violette in his D2D Porsche. They're currently working their final flying laps, trying to move up from the 3rd row onto the 2nd or maybe pole. And there you go, Schwenkler looks like he's called off his final lap, and Eric Violette just now coming across the line, turning in a 1:49.42. He does not improve, and it looks like he's going to start on row number 3 here in the pro field alongside Orion's Travis Schwenke. All right, Larry, let's take a look. I know we don't have much time for her, but sitting in the green room right now, driving the Squaric Motorsports number 75 LMP Ligier, our guest this evening, it's Michelle Squaric.
All right, Michelle Squaric joining us here pre-race. Michelle, we can. Are you ready for Mexico City? Have you gotten in a lot of practice in the last week or so?
Well, I bought the track yesterday and I started practicing then, but I've made sure to get my practice time in. I feel pretty ready for this one. Fortunately, not of a pole yet again. This series, I always seem to qualify 2nd or 3rd. So I'd love to, maybe correct that someday, but,
Yeah, it's been quite a few seconds, but consistency has paid off. You do have one of the wins this year, but you're 2nd in the points. Are you kind of keeping an eye on Josh? I mean, obviously he's right now and going to be alongside you going into turn 1, but is he really the target here? You also looking maybe behind at some of the other drivers.
Josh and Zach are definitely the 2 other drivers I've got my eye on. They're both quick. We've all been quick in practice session as well as some of the practice starts. Yeah, that's definitely kind of where my attention's going to be. With traffic, kind of be anybody's race. It's going to be a little bit of luck of a draw, a little bit who can play better. I haven't played so nicely with traffic, and it's kind of hurt me here. So I'm going to try and tone that down so that way, hopefully, I can be talking to you guys here after checkered flag.
That would be great. Before we do go green, though, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your real life racing that I know that you do. As I think I actually got to call one of your races at the runoffs SCCA this year. But tell us a little bit about what do you do get to race, and what kind of experience you've got in real life.
Oh yeah, so I race in Spec MX5. I started in that series when it was called the Spec MX5 Challenge Series. And since then, it's been folded into the SCCA. First appearance at runoffs in 23 at VIR. Unfortunately, had some financial issues, so I wasn't able to make it to 24. 25, I was able to make it there. It was an awesome experience again. But car wasn't exactly perfectly healthy. And as a result, it didn't finish the race. As of no result of Rob or Final Turn or any of the fantastic crew that helped me that weekend. It's just, how it is sometimes.
Yeah. Has that experience being able to do the real world, is that really the goal, the objective, and is the sim racing helping you achieve those objectives in the real life racing?
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, as anyone who's done any sort of real life racing knows, it's really expensive. But here, you can stuff as many cars into tire barriers as you want, and it'll cost you nothing but pressing the reset button.
It always makes it a little bit more affordable. All right, well, I think we're about to go to the grid. Any last shout outs, any mentions you want to give here before we head off to grid?
I want to give a quick mention to my mom who might be watching, so gonna try to make it happen.
All right. Well, good luck, and maybe with a little bit of luck here in about an hour, we'll get to talk to you again.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, everybody. That was Michelle Squerick, driver of the LMP3 Squerick Motorsports Ligier. Let's now take a look at our starting order for tonight's race. Larry, tell you what, last week with the World Challenge, I took the prototypes. Why don't you grab them here tonight?
All right, let's start off right there on the pole position tonight. He's your points leaders, Josh Chinsky from SRT Esport. Alongside Josh, we just talked to her, it's Squerick Motorsports, Michelle Squerick. Second row, it's going to be Echelon Sim Sport on the inside with Zach Herbert, alongside fan favorite Bobby Childs from D2D Sim Racing. Row 3 will be Russ Ruddick and the Flying Tortoise Motorsport. And then I believe we've got Pan Hiraday, not shown here, but I think he is going to potentially start on the outside of row 3.
All right, let's move over to the GT4 racers, pardon me. We're on pole tonight driving the number 118 Orion Porsche. It is Leo Dragota. He's going to start alongside his teammate. Also in a Porsche Cayman, it is Mike Dam. Row number 2, starting third, Ken Copeland for the wrong stuff. He's going to start alongside his teammate, Robert Schwenkler. Schwenkler racing in a McLaren Copeland in a Mercedes. Then we've got D2D Sim Racing's Eric Violette in a Porsche Cayman. That's the number 89 car starting in 5th, with Travis Schwenke starting 6th. He's driving the number 16 Orion Porsche Cayman. Now let's move over to row number 4. There we go. Michael Klimovich in the Slow Bros McLaren. He is your GT4 AM pole sitter. He is going to start right alongside Lucas Dragota from Dragon Sport Racing. Dan Carrillo will then start on the next row, right alongside David Klimovich. Then we've got Dale Maxwell alongside Chris Thorman, Stephen May, and Greg Brockway. And then we've got Doug Klimovich for Slow Bros alongside Ryan Haley. And as you mentioned, Larry, Pan Hiraday. We'll see where he's starting out. It looks like he may start from the pit lane. He did not go out for the pace lap.
It is what it looks like. He'll be in the pits, and not sure what the story is there. Sometimes they'll do that if there's penalties they're serving and whatnot, but we'll see what it looks like on the start. Now, we've seen, if you've watched Formula One, the starts here, it's a very long run down to turn 1. Could be opportunities for drafts to get alongside, make that chicane very interesting. We'll see if Michelle pushes the issue a little bit on Josh Chinsky there in the LMP3s, or if perhaps the teammates, Mike Dam and Leo Dragota, get a little bit spicy there on the Orion front row if they can make something interesting in that first turn.
Yeah, and Larry, as for those of us who are watching the Formula One Grand Prix, the Mexico City Grand Prix yesterday, we know at the very end of that long front straight, 3/4 of a mile, you've got that chicane going into turn 1, or coming out of turn 1 with turns 2 and 3, and then almost as critical and difficult is down at the end of the second straight, the Recta Trancera, going down into turns 4 and 5, another chicane, and then you get to the hairpin at turn 6 where the racers, we just saw them come through on the pace lap. So lots of challenges early on in this race. Not the least is the series of S's that our GT4 cars are just now exiting. But here, Larry, as they come down into the stadium section, you know, this part of the track gets so slow and so tight. It's so different from the rest of this wide open racetrack.
Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yes, very tight, very technical, but it is also a very long run from this slow corners all the way down to turn one. And we're about to see how the prototypes do it. Will Michelle be able to get that run, or will our point sitter Chinsky have the advantage?
All right, and green flag is in the air, Larry, and we are underway here at Mexico City as the racers are going to make that long run. Our GT4 cars coming out of the final corner now onto the front straight. And we'll see when, and they now get the green flag as well, and they are underway. And a little bottled up there behind the two Porsches, the two Orion cars that got a similar jump off the line. But again, 3/4 of a mile until they get down into turn one. Our prototype cars, they did not didn't think they got through there all in one piece, with Zach Herbert now jumping to the lead in the prototypes, and he and Josh Chinsky going side by side as we watch the GT4 racers make it through the chicane for the very first time. Let's jump over to the prototypes if we can here, Jim, as again, it's Chinsky and Herbert now lock nose to tail. Michelle Squirk, who started on the outside of the front row, she drops down into third position with Bobby Childs and Russ Ruddick very close behind as they now come through those S's, and will enter into the stadium section here in just a moment. Larry, very tight, close racing here for the LMP3 cars here early on.
Well, the cold tires first time around here into the stadium section. Again, a lot of technical here, a lot of precision required and patience to get the car to rotate correctly. Good first lap here going for Zach Herbert to be able to take that spot from the second spot there away from Michelle Squirk. She now has to work to get that back. But as we come out of the front straight, she is close enough. The draft will play a part on this straightaway. These aero cars punch a pretty good size hole, and you can already see Josh Chinsky doing just a little bit of a defensive line there. I want to call it weaving, but he's certainly making sure he's going to plug the inside line and make it harder for anybody else behind him to tow.
And as they come now down into turn one, he's going to actually take a traditional entry in there. Zach Herbert just kind of trying to settle into a rhythm. The top three here, nobody really pushing the issue here at the end of lap one, start of lap number two, with 60 minutes of racing ahead of them here. But already we can see these top three starting to separate themselves out from Bobby Childs and Russ Ruddick early on.
Yeah, just a little bit. They're still packed in here pretty well. I suspect Chinsky maybe being a little bit conservative here on the opening laps, trying to watch his pace, watch his tires, making sure they warm up correctly. And the other two behind also showing some patience here. Michelle not pushing on Zach to try and pick up that spot. Looks like they're all just sort of waiting it out until we get past these first 3 laps or so and get some heat in these tires.
Yeah, so both Zach Herbert and Michelle Squirk looking for a little redemption after their problems at the Indianapolis Road Course, a race where Josh Chinsky took his third race win here this season, 3rd out of 4 rounds. Zach Herbert, your pole sitter, though, and also Michelle Squirk, who started on the outside of the front row, finishing 6 laps down as they both encountered issues with traffic and had to take numerous repairs. But right now, things a little bit more clear for them, and Larry, with only, I believe, somewhere along the lines of 22, 23 racers, probably not going to see the kind of congestion that we saw from start
traffic will be interesting.
Yeah,
traffic will be interesting because they haven't gotten a lot of practice in this series for this track between them. A lot of folks didn't participate in practices last week. Oh, there's a big spin. As that looks like Ken Copeland going around, coming out of the stadium right in front of Travis Schwenke. He's managed to lift and get around him with no further contact. It looks like Lucas Tragoda also was able to get by. I did see that Bobby Childs pulled down pit lane. This was not a tow. I wonder if he forgot to add the rest of his fuel after qualifying.
Yeah, as he now spends just a short period of time, 25 seconds in his pit stall, and now heads back out. But Larry, that really opens things up now for the two Orion teammates, with Dragoda and Dam now opening up somewhere along the lines of almost 2 seconds on Robert Schwenkler and Orion teammate Travis Schwenke that with the other wrong stuff car going around with Ken Copeland losing the rear end of the Mercedes coming out of the final corner, that really backed up his teammate Schwenkler as well as Schwenke.
And there's a little bit of push going on in the middle of the corner there as Lucas gets into the back of Schwenke coming out of that turnaround, trying to just maximize his exit speed.
Yeah, and that's Dragon Sports Lucas Dragota. That's Leo's younger brother, currently challenging for 4th position here in Pro, and doing his best Spec Miata pump drafting impression there, Larry. All right, we jump back over to the LMP3s and Josh Chinsky now, who just turned in fastest lap of the race to complete lap number 3, has opened up almost 2 seconds on Zach Herbert and Michelle Squarick. And it looks like Herbert's starting to get a little defensive there with the number 75 car of Squarick.
Just a little bit, and this is going to be an opportunity then for Chinsky to open up things a little as these two behind start to battle through those 2 chicanes.
And so it's a question there, so interestingly enough, during practice this week, Herbert was the fastest of the LMP3 racers, was able to put in a 140.2. But we're already seeing all 3 of our top 3, Chinsky, Herbert, and Squarick, have eclipsed that time. Chinsky turning in a 139.1, almost 0.6 faster than Herbert. And I think Squarick at this point just might be seeing Chinsky start to walk away a little bit here, and she wants to dispatch with Herbert as quickly as she can.
Yeah, well, now there's no more draft pulling Herbert behind Chinsky, so that may be an opportunity as we check out the replay here of Bobby. We saw him come into the pits, take some fuel. Now, of course, he's behind the GT4s, gets a little bit too close in front of one of the Frito Sports. That's going to send Bobby around into the wall.
And that was the 62 Mercedes of Greg Brockway that he got into or came across the nose of. So not a great start for him. It looks like Panhirde now might be having some issues as well.
This is another replay here of okay, well, we're gonna catch something else here as we flash out of this. All right, so we are back to live then with Dragota still leading Dam all by themselves, a couple of seconds ahead of the rest of the GT4s as they are. You can see how slow that stadium section is there for these 2 Orion cars. And I did manage to get a couple laps in. I used the Mustang for a little bit of a trial, and that's a lot of car to muscle through that really slow. I can't believe Formula One cars go through that stadium because it is like driving. It is like parking your SUV in a parking lot and twisting around through a Walmart lot. It is that tight. I cannot believe that there's racing through there. So it's not going to be the best passing zone, but if you mess it up, it can cost you a lot of time.
Yeah, indeed, and perhaps these Porsche Caymans, Larry, with their short wheelbase, might be for that section of the course the best of the GT4 chassis for the situation. Whether or not they're going to be best going down the straightaways at this point early on, they're showing that they've got strength there as well, as they now have opened up. It appears almost looks like. About 2.5, almost 3 seconds on Robert Schwenkler, currently running 3rd in GT3 or GT4 Pro, pardon me.
Yeah, I think the Porsche is a very good. We've shown its pace all season long here now on our 5th round, but I think the Porsche specifically in this track is going to perform very well. It's nimble, it's agile, it handles a lot of these chicanes very well. As I mentioned, I drove the Mustang. Very difficult to get that car to really woe down and transfer all that weight back and forth in the chicanes. Same thing to the stadium section. I suspect the Porsche has a huge advantage. The McLarens are going to be a tough road here for the likes of Schwenkler to be able to run here with these Porsches.
Yeah, and of course, Larry, as you mentioned, the Mustang, the GT4 Mustang, which came on after this, came into the iRacing platform after the season started. Drivers were not allowed to change to that chassis until after round number 3. So Indianapolis would have been the very first round. And tonight, Dale Maxwell, the only one of our drivers here who's trying to muscle that muscle car, that pony car, through the stadium section.
It looks great. It sounds amazing. It is a lot of car, though. It moves that weight around quite a bit. I think setup is critical on this car, and maybe some of the other drivers decided to stick with the Porsche. Now, we had heard earlier in the season, going back to the opening rounds, when the new updates came to iRacing, how dreadful the Aston Martin was. There's still some drivers driving it. Perhaps they're learning some of the techniques that it takes to drive those. Chris Dorman, as we can see him here, he's still driving one. In fact, I think tonight he might be the only one in one of the Aston Martins.
Yeah, and as we know, his teammate Eric Violette switched over to the Cayman at the earliest possible opportunity. He wanted to move over round number 3 if he could, and the series officials would not allow him to do it. But Thorman's decided to stick it out.
Yeah, and they're maybe figuring out ways with setup to get it to behave the way it needs to. I know at VIR was the first round of struggles we saw. It was Oak Tree. It was a decreasing radius, trying to get this car to rotate under braking. This track, it doesn't have too many of those kind of corners. Essentially, everything's either a chicane or more a traditional, easier turn. These S's could get a little bit dicey if you're not careful in your turn in, but not as bad as a fast decreasing radius would be at some other tracks.
And actually, this one hairpin in the stadium section over at turn 13, I can see where that might be problematic. But so far, Thorman managing to hold it together, although he is running 8th of 9 racers in the pro field currently.
So this is actually the battle for the AM lead here, with Dale Maxwell chasing down his teammate David Klimovich. There was a couple of pro cars between them when they started this race. Maxwell has dispatched of them, and he's got himself now right up behind teammate. We know there are no team orders with the slow bros. They will race fairly.
No, they made it very clear a couple of weeks ago at Indianapolis that was not the case.
Yep.
But that McLaren able to just power out of that slower section so well.
Yeah, it gets the power down well, and the Mustang's a lot of weight to move around. It does have the straight line speed. There's really only the one really long straightaway, that main front straightaway, for the Mustang to reel him in. But you can see here, Dale doing a great job. I think here at these hairpins, it can do all right to get that power down out of his little bit faster exit speed than maybe some of the chicanes. So he's able to hold right on the back of the McLaren of Klimovich here now as they go through these S's.
Yeah, and so in GT4AM, it has been a slow bros convention here, Larry, as Dale Maxwell took the win at Indianapolis 2 weeks ago, but that was his first win on the season in that Mustang. His teammate David Klimovich, who we're riding on board with right now, 3 wins, took the first 3 here in the season, and is currently your points leader. All right, let's move over here and take a look at this is Michael Klimovich, another Slow Bros racer, and currently running in 3rd in AM, Larry, and he's got the Aston Martin of Thorman directly ahead, as well as Dan Corrido a couple seconds up the road in his Porsche Cayman. Klimovich running 3rd in class, but as we take a look at the ticker there, still a good distance back from the leaders in the field. All right, as our LMP3 racers, Larry, we saw Michelle Squarick there a moment ago, starting to work their way through this GT4 traffic, and again, the straightaways certainly make it easy for them, but these much tighter sections of the course certainly problematic, as Josh Chinsky.
Yeah, well, here you've got, in the middle of all of this, Dale Maxwell got by teammate Dale Klimovich.
Yeah.
So there you go between them. It is a change for position now as they continue through the S's. A little bit wide there for Klimovich, and he's got Herbert right behind him now, also trying to get through impatiently. Zach wants to get up there and catch up with Chinsky. And he'll have one more.
As Squarick tries to make her way through, and of course, Larry, we were talking.
She's stuck in the stadium now.
Yeah, and we were talking how at Indy, both Squarick and Herbert had major issues with traffic, and it was while Michelle Squirk was trying to make a pass on Zach Herbert, where she ended up impacting another car, and it affected both of those racers. So this time, coming out of the stadium, she's able to get through clearly.
All right, so here's a replay of that pass. We were talking about Dale Maxwell was chasing his Slowbro teammate down, I believe, as they are now coming down on the main straightaway here. It's not the main straight. This is that back straight, actually, into the second of the chicanes through this turn 4 and 5, and then into turn 6. And there you can see he's already got the advantage.
6, exactly, as they come through.
Yeah, well set up there for Maxwell to take that position and then make a little bit of gap. And now he's just sort of managing it down the front straight.
All right, as we jump back.
Oh, this is getting spicy.
Yes, it is. Well, it was spicy before, Larry, with Lucas Dragota and Travis Schwenke. I think the last time we looked at him, I said that Dragota was trying to, play his best spec Miata racer there. As, he was
Lucas
drafting Schwenke around the course.
Yeah, Lucas just flashing his lights there. I don't think that was at Schwenke. I think that may have been at Zach Herbert, who is trying to get by. Now, Squirk trying to do the same thing, a little bit more delicate this time for Michelle, squeezing past. Those two are battling. She's now going to make her way into the stadium. Meanwhile, Schwenke on the defensive line here. It may have cost him as he ends up breaking deep going into the stadium, and Lucas is going to take that position.
There you go. Lucas Dragota now move him up into 4th in the pro field as the Dragon Sport racer gets around Travis Schwenke. And yeah, Larry, it looked like Schwenke just was so deep on the brakes there for that 90-degree turn. Very slow and just could not get the car rotated.
Yeah, when you're on that defensive line, you do have to break a touch earlier. That corner gets tighter. He did not, and therefore gives up the position to young Lucas, who now is trying to chase down the next one up the road, about 5 seconds up, Robert Schwenkler. And, of course, Lucas's older brother, Leo, the leader in GT4 Pro in one of the Orion Porsches. Travis's teammate. Interesting line there. You see that for Lucas. He comes through turn 1. He yanks the car hard right, nearly grabs some grass on the driver's right to get the great line on the exit through 2 and 3, the second part of that chicane, to get the run onto this straightaway. So really understanding how to make speed and how to make a great exit line there in that Mercedes.
And meanwhile, very shallow into the second part of that chicane there into turn 5. But the Mercedes looked like it could handle it. He was able to get the car rotated very well and straighten things up to go down into the hairpin as they now come through these S's here, a series of as opposed to the Circuit of the Americas, actually a set of increasing radius corners until you get to this section here, get into turns 10 and 11, where things tighten up quite a bit before you're run down to the sharp right-hander at 12.
Yeah, that looks like Bobby Childs coming through there now after he's got his repairs done. That's him right in front of this pairing as they go through the stadium. But also seeing a lot of, I think the Porsches look a little bit more, composed over the curbs than the Mercedes does. The Mercedes seems to be bouncing around a lot for Lucas. It could just be the way Lucas is attacking them in his Mercedes, but the Porsche just seems to really suck them up a little bit better tonight.
Yeah, I mean, some of the curbing here, Larry, it does look as though Lucas is dragging that car all the way over the back side of the curbs, and it's definitely upsetting the car, as opposed to watching his brother Leo here, doing the same thing, and even putting they're going through turn 1, put the right wheels all the way into the grass, and the car just seemed to soak it all up.
As we take a look at our overall leader in GT4 here at Leo Dragota, now with a couple second advantage on Mike Dam.
Yeah,
Where is he?
Say, what happened to Mike Dam, who's now 4 seconds in arrears
Yeah.
Larry.
I worry that
We
perhaps
could see
traffic.
All right, we don't have anything.
We'll look and see if there's a replay available. But yeah, as of right now, though, that gap now up over 4 seconds for Leo Dragotta over teammate Mike Dam. That's big. A quick replay of Russ Ruddock here in his LMP3. Looks like he's entering the stadium and just locks that rear up going in there and kind of blocks the track. And well, managed to get it going again. Luckily for Russ, I think still running in 4th tonight.
Well, let's jump back to that battle if we can between Lucas Dragotta and Travis Schwenke here as they come out of the final corner onto the pit straight. And Dragotta's now opened up, Larry, a couple car lengths and got a very good run out of the final corner. Was able to stretch things out, maybe another car length to a car length and a half. We'll see if that compresses down. I'd imagine Schwenke is going to try to get on the brakes as late as possible here with that lightweight Porsche. And look how much ground he closes up there.
And there's that line again where Lucas is all the way out, right tires in the grass, going into the second part of that chicane. I don't know if it actually pays off. He might actually be spending too much time with the car all pitched over to one side. The power is not going down. A good exit for Schwenke, not able to do anything with it. He's up underneath that deck lid of the Mercedes. At this point, Travis is just putting pressure on young Lucas, and it may be working. As they go through this hairpin here at turn 6, see who gets the good exit again. Watching that Mercedes just move around a lot over these curbs, with the Porsche just seems to be gliding on them.
I'm wondering, Larry, it might not be a horrible strategy. It looks like the rear end of that Mercedes much more affected by the curbing than the front end. It's a good little scheme there to get the car to rotate. Whether or not he can actually get the power down is another story.
And that may be part of the issue, maybe why he's taking those drastic lines. He knows he can't get the power down unless the car is pointed straight. He's just trying to get it straight as early as possible. As they come into the stadium section here, again, maybe this is where Travis is going to try and find opportunities through some of the slower corners. I don't think this is a passing zone here for him, but maybe he can use it to his advantage when he gets to those chicanes at either 1, 2, 3 or at the 4, 5 chicane.
All right, Larry, looks like, let's jump over. Looks like Doug Klimovich, one of the Slow Bros racers in the number 22 McLaren.
The third of our Klimoviches maybe having some troubles tonight.
Coming
he goes
down in
deep.
The 1.
That is deep into that chicane. And that actually looks like the 4-5 chicane into the hairpin at 6.
Right. Yes.
And he's running the wide line there, trying to stay out of the way of that BMW, which he does.
Yeah.
That's Stephen
so that's
May.
Ryan Haley.
Oh, it is Ryan Haley, you're right. There are 2 BMWs in the field tonight.
Yes.
But we have more tragedy to bring you of Bobby Childs and the adventures of D2D as he goes sliding sideways into that barrier. The Tech Pro will never be the same. More body work for the D2D team to work on. Well, these two still fighting for the 4th spot in GT4 Pro. Not very aggressive for Schwenke right now. I think he's just kind of sitting back, maybe biding some time, saving some fuel, saving some tires, and waiting for that pit to open up here in a little bit.
Through and out of the stadium section. Again, Lucas Dragotta and Travis Schwenke. And Larry, and look at the slip that Dragotta gets out of coming out of the stadium over at turn 16, but he somehow manages to get the power down. I think Schwenke one isn't carrying a lot of speed out of the stadium, but I think he's hurt quite a bit. You know, we saw when Dragotta took the position from him where Schwenke was a little bit too deep and wasn't able to get the power down going into the stadium. That still seems to be a bit of an issue, and he just happens to be making it up under braking going into turn one each and every lap. But you see here again, Dragotta able to expand maybe another lap and a half, or probably not lap and a half, car and a half, the two cars pretty easily coming out of that chicane.
Yeah, if you watch them through here, a lot more calm, a lot better tight, even line for Travis Schwenke. And where that may actually pay off in the long run is there's a lot of work on the tires for Lucas Dragotta. I think Travis looks like he's really being more gentle on his. And in the long run, we've seen this in races before. I don't know how much tire wear this track is versus other places we've been, but we have seen tire wear come into play in some of these races. These 60-minute format can definitely put a little bit of burden on them.
As we take a look here, Larry, the track temps, ambient air, not very hot at all.
Not too bad, actually.
Temps, yeah, track temps just under 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Not that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, not bad for, must not be summertime in Mexico City. This must be a nice, crisp, late October day. As it really is in real life.
And that time, Larry, going into the stadium, it looked as though Schwenke was able to close things down, but again, coming out of the final corner, he just does not seem to have the advantage. This time, though, he does.
Yeah, got a good draft here.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas going a little bit defensive. He's just kind of watching his mirrors as they head down toward the braking zone. I don't know that Travis can get there. They got to break somewhere around the 5 marker. So he's getting close, but not quite close enough at this point, just close enough to fill mirrors. Look how much more gentle Travis is with that car than Lucas in front of him.
Rear end just stepping out on him there.
Yeah.
Interesting that Chris Thorman is taken to the pits, Larry, and as we continue to watch this in his D2D.
We are in the pit window.
Yeah, I guess we're getting pretty close. Actually opening up at lap 11 for the GT4 cars. So yeah, we're right there, and he's in early. And the LMP3 racers pit window opened up around lap 12, so we're right in the midst of that.
Yeah.
As well.
Again, Lucas using every inch of pavement and grass and extensions he can get his hands on, and that Mercedes is trying to hold off the Porsche behind him. I think if it wasn't for that one mistake there for Schwenke, I think he'd still have this position, but yeah. One braking error, which is in this part of the track coming up here, if he can try and force some pressure on Lucas and maybe force the same mistake.
You know, it's interesting, Larry, and I'm wondering how extensive iRacing's modeling is here just in dealing with the high altitude. I mean, obviously in real life, and, you know, for example, the Formula One race yesterday, you found...
Oh, no, there's a mistake as Lucas goes around coming out of the stadium. And this is a tough place to be parked. You can't see what's coming at you. There is not enough room. He can try doing a drop the clutch U-turn, but he is going to lose all kinds of track position. He should throw it reverse. He should throw it in reverse. And there he goes. Perfect timing.
There you go.
Yep. And he's trying to stay out of the way of, that looks like Russ Ruddock coming into the pits. That is a tough position. Lucas can continue to put it reverse.
That is so rough as Ken Corby, who had his problems early on, gets by. Oh,
goodness, and Lucas almost finds his way out of there. Hopefully he's going to make it clear, as there's a lot of folks, they're going to see the local yellow, and he does manage to get going just as I think that might be Stephen May comes by.
Stephen May in the red BMW, yeah.
Wow, Lucas goes from running in 4th all the way down to, we'll call it 8th now, and losing about 30 seconds there trying to get that car turned around.
Yeah, and, you know, Larry, so the thought I had was, you know, for the modeling that iRacing has, whether or not you could get by running a higher downforce setup for these cars, and because of the high altitude and the thin air, not really have much of an effect, or pardon me, not much of a downside to running a high downforce setup. And I guess it doesn't really matter, as we saw the rear end of the car walk
The GT4s, they don't have a ton of aero anyway. It's just enough to help balance the car a little bit. I think some of the issue there for Lucas and where that car went around for him, we had been talking about how loose the car looked, how much he was working that car. I have a feeling his tire temps may have exceeded where their useful range is, and he just lost the back end with hot tires.
Yeah, and given that final corner, Larry, has pretty nice banking to it. The Peraltada heavily cambered there, and he appeared to be in the groove. And I think
quick
the rear end
replay here. You see him hit the curbs, turn in, and the car actually goes just after the curbs come down. And again, the car is not absorbing the bumps in the way the Porsches are. That Mercedes a handful, and it just proved itself right there. Let's watch it again.
Our helicopter pilot was afraid that he was going to hit the top of the stadium.
It's an impressive chopper pilot to do that. But impressive is Travis Schwenke avoiding Dragota without even lifting. Travis doing a great job to keep that thing going down the straightaway without any interference. We check in with our slow bros.
Yeah, our slow bros, our GT4 AM battle for the lead. Dale Maxwell in the Mustang, his teammate David Klimovich in the 21 McLaren.
Well, they better look out because there's a Michael Klimovich that's closing in. He's about 5 seconds behind these guys. And so he's got a little bit of work to do, but Jerry, you can see him. He's got, I think, the pro class of Dan Carrito in the Porsche still to maybe help pull himself towards his teammates up there. But we could end up very soon. We already have it in the standings. We can have it on track, a 1, 2, 3 in a row Slow Bros team. As they're getting lapped now by that second place battle in the prototypes. Zach Herbert, Michelle Skwarek, look at them nose to tail. Now Michelle looks more aggressive than she was in his opening laps, and she's going to continue to push and push as they go to the stadium behind Dale Maxwell. Oh, this is going to be fascinating. How much patience do the prototypes show? If you're Zach Herbert, none. If you're Michelle Skwarek, she's going to use that same piece of real estate and go right up the inside.
And Maxwell that time, he waited as late as he could to turn in, Larry. He almost ran the car right off the track over at turn 13 to let those two through.
Yeah, good job there for Maxwell to make sure he was aware of the situation and not creating any, or I guess enhancing any bit of an issue that may have been with Herbert and Skwarek shuffling down the inside. And this could be good for Herbert if he can put, that looks like Eric Violette now, potentially between himself and Michelle Skwarek for a couple of corners, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Is Violette now running in the 5th spot there in GT4 Pro, just trying to make sure he doesn't tangle it up here with these prototypes.
And Larry, just in that couple, not even a split second, as Michelle Skwarek had to wait and follow Eric Violette through that chicane. Herbert now opening up almost 2 full seconds, 1.9 seconds on Michelle Skwarek.
I wonder how much longer before we see some of our pits start to really fill up here as we're just past the halfway point. Yeah. May not be a terrible time for a break.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Larry, it's a pretty good time. We're just about up at the top of the hour, 8:59 p.m. here Eastern Time. So why don't we take that break? We thank some of our partners and sponsors, and when we come back, we'll take you all the way to the checkered flag here at Mexico City, where it's round number 5 at the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts, support from experts that love sim racing, trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
Like the season on the info screen. Okay. Welcome back to Mexico City. It is round number 5 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg. He's Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, as we expected, we're starting to see drivers come down the pit lane to take service. Chief among them, Dale Maxwell, your now former leader in GT4 AM, brings his Slow Bros Mustang onto the pit lane, as did Eric Violette. They're just now leaving their pit stalls and heading back out on track. Greg Brockway coming down the pit lane as well. Now, with our LMP3 racers currently working lap 22, their pit window only is going to extend for maybe another 2 laps. And in GT4, with Leo Dragotta, Mike Dam now coming out of the final corner, and they're going to be coming into our view here momentarily. They are going to be starting lap number 20, and also their pit window extending maybe another 2 laps.
Yeah, we'll see. Now, Dragotta, of course, the pretty big gap on his teammate Mike Dam, now up to 8 seconds for Leo Dragotta. Wow. I mentioned this as we started tonight, that those who show pace in this are often the ones that put the time in to learn this relatively new track here on the iRacing platform. I fully suspect Leo Dragotta is one of those that put the time in. Lucas may have as well. No, we saw Lucas have the issue, but he was running a very strong 4th place before his spin. But Leo seems to be just rock solid tonight, pulling away from the other talented drivers we got in this field, like his teammate Mike Dam or Schwenkler. And then, of course, Ken Copeland had the issue early while still on cold tires, but he's another one usually to contend with. All of them, no match for Leo Dragotta tonight.
Yeah, and Larry, we were talking about earlier the fastest drivers in LMP3 during the weekend testing. Eric Violette was our fastest GT4 racer, but take a look at this. Violette during the week was able to put in a 151.2 race pace for Leo Dragotta, almost 3 seconds faster than that. He's actually gone as low as a 148 flat. He's currently lapping at a 148.2.
Right now, GT4 leader Leo Dragotta's got himself sandwiched right in between that battle for second place in LMP3. Zach Herbert's already gone by. Michelle Squirk again gets stuck behind the GT4 in the stadium section, and she's going to take to the pits. So all 3 of your LMP3 leaders are now in the pits.
Yeah, Chinsky, Herbert, and Squirk now on the pit lane. Larry, should be noted that on the prior lap, Michelle Squirk was about 0.6 of a second faster than Zach Herbert. And again, you know, this is with the racers having to deal with traffic. If Herbert got into some traffic coming towards that stadium, certainly that would affect things. But right now, Josh Chinsky, our leader, he has taken service. He is now back out on track. Should, though, look at the timing here, Larry, where Chinsky in his pit stall 2 seconds longer than Zach Herbert. Michelle Squirk about half a second longer than Herbert. So Herbert, either he did a great job of fuel savings, or he's going to have to do quite a bit of fuel savings at the end of the race. Yeah,
there may be a gamble here on his part, or he may have different ways of calculating than Squirk or Chinsky. So we'll keep our eye on that story as they get going. And also, he does open up, because of that quick pit stop, open up just a little bit more of a lead on Squirk. It was about 1.5 seconds when they pulled in. Now it's up about 2.2. So huge help there for Herbert. As we've got the Slow Bros, the Klimoviches are both in. David and Michael are in the pits now. Not all 3. Doug, who we saw having issues earlier, he's out running, but he is a lap or 2 down.
And Larry, we saw when we took a look at the pit lane, Lucas Dragotta, who had that horrible spin and dropped all the way back to the tail end of the field. He brought his car down the pit lane almost immediately after he completed one more lap, and it looks like he's just decided to call it a night.
May have been a soft rage quit where it's not the complete crash, and he didn't go flying down through the end of the straightaway at full throttle like some others we've seen. He may have decided that, you know what, that was a really, really bonehead move, and I'm not going to continue this race. Speaking of mistakes, Leo Dragotta finally makes one. He missed his pit box. He had to back up a couple of feet. Let's see if Mike Dam can take advantage of this as he pulls in, appears to be square clearly into his pit box. Now, the advantage was like 9 seconds. Yeah, but that wasn't a 9-second mistake, as Dragotta's out already.
And Mike Dam leaving his pit box, and Dam in his pit box for 2 seconds fewer than his teammate Leo Dragotta. Now that's going to only drop things down to about 7 seconds separating them, as Dragotta had opened up, as you mentioned, Larry, almost 9 seconds on his teammate.
Yeah, so he had definitely some time in the bag to be able to make a mistake. It's just so rare we see Leo Dragotta make any mistake, and there's a small one. It's a little bit of a chink in the armor, not a very big one, but certainly he is not completely inhuman, but it's close. As we go back to the Slow Bros now, as Maxwell leads Michael Klimovich, David Klimovich, is running back there in the 4th spot, and Stephen May has yet to take his pits, and I suspect he will very, very soon, and there he goes.
And Larry, although Schwenke's still got a long way to go, Robert Schwenkler was in his pit stall for 20 seconds. That is almost 4 seconds longer than almost every other driver. Travis Schwenke behind, only about 16 3/4, picked up 3 seconds just in the pit lane exchange.
Yeah, well, there could be a couple reasons for that. Either he decided to take tires, or he has a different fuel calculation. I don't suspect that. The other is if he had any optional repairs. Perhaps he had rubbed a wall or something and needed to make a repair. So there's just a couple of reasons why you might be a few seconds longer in a pit stop. It doesn't appear to have cost him track position. He's just further behind the second place Mike Dam now. There's a good shot of the wrong stuff. McLaren there is he's just kind of all by himself when it comes to GT4 traffic. He's got 6 seconds on Travis Schwenke behind and 18 seconds all up the road to Mike Dam up in front of him. He's just sort of surrounded by a bunch of Orions, and but there elsewhere on the track is Michael Klimovich chasing down teammate Dale Maxwell. David Klimovich seems to have faded just a little bit. He was about 5 seconds behind this. To David, but he's lost some track position there.
Yeah, and interestingly, Larry, there he is now coming into our view a little bit further back. That David Klimovich actually had a little bit faster outlap than Michael.
That actually might have been Doug Klimovich we saw in the background of that shot.
Yeah. Oh,
it's another Slow Bros paint scheme, but it is a lap down or 2 laps down. Is Doug Klimovich. There you can see him right now with Ken Copeland lapping him a little bit further, but good to see him back up. There is David Klimovich, just now coming out of the stadium. That's the 13 seconds down from his teammates Maxwell and Michael Klimovich as that Mustang powers down this long pit straight. Oh, bit of a miss there for Michael going into turn 1. Much better run through there in the Mustang is Dale Maxwell. Maybe perhaps Michael Klimovich looking at the overall leader, Josh Chinsky, the Penn Station Subs LMP3 coming through. Maybe he was getting a little bit hungry for a sandwich. Now everybody else is. You're welcome.
That's right. Thank you. You know.
Well, a little bit better exit this time out of the chicane out of the hairpin, I should say, than he was out of the chicane for Michael Klimovich. So now he's got to get a good run through the S's to stay on the heels of teammate in that Mustang with just about 15 minutes to go. I would say that the lead in GT4 AM is still hotly contested. You mentioned the pit time for Robert Schwenkler, about 20 seconds. I'm showing similar pit times actually for the Slowbros team. Dale Maxwell, Mike Klimovich, also up around that 20-21 seconds. So wondering if they maybe had taken tires and all of them maybe just had a little bit of a slower stop. Keep an eye on Schwenkler's pace and see if that theory proves true.
Yeah, it just seemed odd, Larry, given that that both Dragotta and Dam head were, obviously, if the question was tires, obviously they didn't. I don't know whether or not.
Well, it looks like all of the Orions are sub 17 or 18 second on their pit time for Dragotta, Dam, and Schwenke. And the rest of the GT4s a little bit slower than that. So I do wonder if maybe that the Orions either are extremely good on fuel, we've seen that before, or perhaps they decided not to change tires. I didn't see anybody go up on jacks as if they were changing tires, but
yeah, exactly.
It could be a fuel thing that the Orion team has been historically very good at saving fuel throughout the race. As Michelle Squirk gets through this lead battle in GT4 AM, she's still out there trying to chase down Zach Herbert for second place. Still 3 seconds or less between them. Herbert did a good job of getting by this battle as well as a couple of our GT4 Pro cars, but we'll see if Squirk gets stuck behind a couple of them again going into the stadium, or if she can clear that battle of what looks like Dan Corrido and Eric Violet.
Oh, and Corrido goes wide as he was trying to adjust his line to let Squirk through, and just overcook the rear.
Yeah, so they always say if you're trying to just let someone by, don't try to let them by in the middle of the corner. Get all the way outside of the exit and then let them by if you have to, or give them a little bit of a earlier brakes to let them go underneath you, the inside. But let's see, watch this replay here of Corrido. He caught a little bit of curb there. Just an awkward turn in, I think is what it turned out to be here. Just didn't quite follow his line, and car went around. No harm except a couple of positions lost. Oh, we've got a replay of Dam. This can never be good.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Coming into the stadium section.
That's curbs.
Yeah.
How quickly can he get it going?
Almost a repeat of what his teammate Travis Schwenke did early on in the race.
Just about. Yeah, almost the same mistake there, kind of breaking deep and using a little bit too much curb. This time, Mike Dam really lucky he got that car out of the way there. I think that might have been before, I don't know if that was Bobby Childs or who that was. Or is that Michelle Squirk? One of the LMP3s that came through just as he was finishing his little bit of a U-turn maneuver.
All right, Larry, and Doug Klimovich now heading to the pit lane, and I think he may have had an issue just before he did, as he's now on the pit lane for the second time. Let's take a look and see what happened.
Yeah, well, we've seen him have some issues already tonight, so this wouldn't be a new one as he heads down into the same place Mike Dam just spun. Is it a replay? This looks a little bit more like Travis's. This time, though, not enough brakes for Doug. He's going to let his slope. No, he's not going to let his slope pro teammate. Forget it, kid. You're stuck behind me for a couple of corners. As that's David Klimovich trying to get around Doug.
Oh, and Doug almost.
They'll talk about that over Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
And then the third of the Klimovich is Michael, not involved in the prior instance. Now, of course, he's got a Ken Copeland hot on his heels trying to get his track position back.
You know, I'll tell you, Larry, as we were watching Doug Klimovich go down into the stadium section, I started to have flashbacks of 2 weeks ago at Indy with Andre Wedderburn going.
Well, at least Doug tried to brake.
Turn 7. Yeah. Well, for a minute, it looked like Doug wasn't going to try to brake either.
As Christine in the chat earlier had posted that Doug would be happy to finish in one piece, and then followed by an ugh, and I jinxed it. See, it's not just the commentator's curse. Sometimes it's the YouTube chat curse.
All right, let's take a look. Robert Schwenkler running in third place. We just saw Mike Dam with his problems. from second as Schwenkler comes down into the chicane.
Oh, he's just letting race leader Josh Chinsky on through. Gentlemanly thing to do.
Just,
we talked about how
nose.
We talked about it. Robert's not really in any kind of a battle. He's just 10 seconds either side from anybody, so no real harm in doing that. As another replay of Michael Klivovich, who had been running in the second spot, now he's 2 seconds back from Dale Maxwell. I think he's lost that position to Ken Copeland, who's in pro class, but has popped himself between the two AM leaders now. With 10 minutes to go, that could have a big part in the outcome here in GT4 AM.
Oh, Larry, here we go into the stadium again. Doug Klimovich, different line.
Oh no, he got high centered on the curb on the exit side now, right in front of Robert Schwenkler. And then he finally just calls the tow, and that is the full jinx going on there. We should keep an eye, though.
Next to Carlos Sainz,
We should keep an eye as Jordy Fike is our man on the scene here. Travis Schwenke now just 4 seconds back from Robert Schwenkler. That has been closing. We saw Robert, of course, being a gentleman, letting the lead car of Josh Chinsky on through, but Travis has been consistently laying down some quick laps. Is Schwenkler a little bit slow right now? Maybe saving some fuel, which would be odd considering the length of his pit time, but you never
exactly.
know.
Or saving tires.
Well, if he's saving them, he may need them to fend off a very fast Travis Schwenke.
Yeah, last time by, Schwenke almost 3 seconds faster than Robert Schwenkler. Of course, again, we saw Schwenkler stand the car on his nose. I think a lot of that lost time.
Now, what we haven't talked about, we haven't talked much about since the pit stops has been that one mistake of Leo Dragota apparently doesn't matter because he's now 20 seconds ahead of his teammate, Mike Dam. Leo Dragota putting a clinic on here at the Mexico City Grand Prix circuit. Just
Dam
amazing.
did lose a little bit of time on that as we saw him going into the stadium section a couple laps ago, but with the exception of running long into his pit stall, Dragota has just been inch perfect here tonight.
Yeah, and he's still out there running in the 48s. There's only a handful of drivers able to even crack into the 49s. And Dragota at this point, a second faster than most everybody in the field. Mike Dam did just turn a low 49, but still no one's on Leo Dragota's pace right now. Now, if we manage to interview Leo Dragota, I'm going to ask him, how much time did you put in? And his answer is going to be, I just bought the track yesterday. It's the same answer that Michelle Skorik just gave us earlier. So who knows? Maybe it's just Leo Dragota starting to enter the alien territory when it comes to picking up new tracks.
All right, Larry, as we're on board with Travis Schwenke, you can see here we're tracking the gap up to Robert Schwenkler above.
Still about 4 seconds or so between the Schwenkler, and that's always fun to say. Who knew Travis Schwenke, when he joined this series, would have someone else in this series that shares all 7 letters of his last name with a few extras even thrown in? Who knew?
It's just a misplaced L, Larry.
Did I say 7? He's got
all that
8.
Separates them.
8 letters that they share. I can't count. So yeah, Schwenke and Schwenkler battling it out for a podium potential position here, but with only less than 7 minutes to go. Robert Schwenkler seems to have responded. He's got himself a pretty good pace the last couple laps. He's been running some low 49s as a response to Travis Schwenke closing up to within that 4.5 seconds.
All right, looks like Stephen May, who's running 4th in AM, just had his share of troubles.
Well, keep an eye on this because this looks like some traffic here in front of Maxwell, and that's going to help.
Is closing up.
Yes, that is Michael Klimovich now hot on the heels of his teammate, and so now with 6 minutes to go, it's game on at GT4 AM.
All right, let's take a look and see what happened to our favorite BMW driver here tonight, Larry. As he had some issues, looks like coming down into turn 1,
Oh, he almost saved it. It just kept going around right in front of, that was Zach Herbert. And now, of course, he's got Michelle Skorick. He's going to do the same thing. He's going to try and get out of the way for Michelle to come through just enough to not impede too badly. Awfully close as our lead back here. We keep an eye on the best battle on the track. It's the Slow Bros. Maxwell and Michael Klimovich. Not that Klimovich, the other Klimovich.
The other one.
There they are.
We go.
Our only Mustang in the field with one of our 4 Slow Bros at the wheel. Dale Maxwell took advantage of that mistake early on. Took this position from Michael, and he's just barely been hanging on to it, really, since about the 20th minute in this race.
Larry, let's jump over to LMP3 real quick as we have Michelle Skorick making the run down into turn number 1. And rear end on the car goes around. She had closed things up to within just a couple seconds of Zach Herbert, but now finds herself almost 13 seconds in arrears as we've got now less than 4 minutes remaining.
Well, we're going to see what happens as she comes down here into the 4-5 chicane. That's a little bit of curb there. Managed to keeping it together here so far. That is a little bit of a hot entry. Losing some more time. Michelle Skorick gonna struggle now to get up to that second place.
The brake bias shifted a little bit too far to the rear there.
You know,
as the car
you
was
get to this
unloading on fuel.
Yeah, you get to this point of the race now where you might have started putting some bias back to the front as the rear tires start to get extra hot here in the long run of this race. So that may be a strategy that all of our drivers may have to employ. As Dale Maxwell now still trying to hold off teammates Michael Klimovich as they also head down between the opening chicane and the 4-5 chicane. Later on the brakes there in the McLaren for Michael Klimovich, so we'll see if he can use that to his advantage maybe in the next lap or so as we come down to less than 3 minutes till we see the checker. This word.
All right, let's jump back over to this battle here in AM. And Michael Klimovich now less than a half second back.
Michael trying to hopefully do and don't do what Doug did through here in his McLaren. Looking pretty good this time for Michael.
Comes right underneath the back of the Mustang, though, really late on the brakes. Mustang able to dig out of that slow hairpin much, much cleaner, though, Larry. And as they come out onto the front straight now with what will likely be two laps remaining.
Yeah. So this is where the legs of the Mustang really pay off for Dale Maxwell. Very difficult for the McLaren to be able to keep up with that Mustang in a straight line, as it looks like Doug has made his way back out onto the track right behind his slow bro teammates.
Bump draft.
He'll get a great view for the next 2 laps here if he can keep his pace up behind what's going to have to be a push for Michael to try and make a move on Dale.
You just see the weight transfer on that Mustang going through that.
I'm telling you, it's a lot of car to tip around through those to get that weight around to be able to get the power down. The McLaren may be a little bit better through there, but we've seen already with what happened to Doug, the curbs there seem to be lava for McLarens tonight. So a little bit more cautious if you're Michael and making sure the car is straight or over them. Let's see if we can get a good exit here, as it looks like our overall race leader wants a bit of a movement through here. He's got 8 seconds in hand. He can take his time. I don't think he is. Did he see the white flag? Is he on the white flag yet?
Larry, with less than a minute left, I would have thought that when he crossed the line, he would not have gotten the white flag.
Yeah, I'm guessing he'll get back before we get to the top of the clock here.
I think only 30 seconds remaining on the clock. It's going to be very close, Larry.
We'll have to see.
And now making a move down to the inside as they come
into
the stadium section.
Is he going to hold this position? He's got the inside line.
Going into the hairpin here, but this is the corner where the Mustang's been able
no.
to dig out, and he
does.
Dale Maxwell takes back the position from Michael Klimovich as they come onto the front straight. And Larry, I think this is going to be the checkered flag.
That's
Indeed
white.
It is. Checkered flag is in the air for Josh Chinsky.
That's
so our
white
AM
flag.
battle comes to the line, and in the final corners, Dale Maxwell.
That's white flag.
Oh, that's white flag.
That's only a white flag. Yeah, we've got a hold of the lap of this.
Oh, my.
So Chinsky's got one lap to go. And as you talked about, the battle here, that dive move for Klimovich almost worked going into the stadium. Now he's got to go find a way to do it again. He wasn't able to hold through the chicane of the stadium, but now he knows where his weakness is. He's got to find a way through, and he's got, of course, Zach Herbert wanting to get by. Zach can show some patience here. He doesn't have to worry about it.
And Larry, I think Michael Klimovich might have just gotten a slowdown penalty going through.
Oh, I think you're right. Oh, that's going to hurt all chances.
The yellow flag on the timing and scoring, that is usually a sign that they've gotten a slowdown penalty. And you can see he's now dropped off the Mustang.
I think you're right, and that may take away, unless there's a mistake here from Maxwell. That may be. I saw a tap of the brake lights coming out of the hairpin for Dale Maxwell, and this may have brought the race right back to Michael Klimovich here going through the S's. And Jordy Fike may also be on it. We got to keep our eye on fuel loads. Some of these drivers who may have timed it. Look at Maxwell struggling in that car in front of him. Is that going to be a slowdown? I know that's pretty generous with the slowdowns here in Mexico City. Not an opportunity here for Michael to make a dive bomb. It may have to wait for a mistake for Maxwell. Does it come? Is there a mistake? Not through there.
This time, no. And again, this is the strength of the Mustang, Larry, and we've seen where the McLaren's been able to poke to the inside, but not.
Oh no! Oh, and he goes around.
Oh, and impacts the wall on the final lap.
Yeah.
Michael Klimovich with a last gasp effort, not enough. And so it is going to be Dale Maxwell takes the win in AM. Now that the checkered flag is out, Josh Chinsky takes the win in LMP3 with Zach Herbert finishing second. Michelle Squarick now coming out of the final corner, and she will take the checkered flag and finish in third. Over in GT3 Pro, though, let's see if we can find. There he is. There's Leo Dragota. He's going to take the checkered flag and the win in GT4 Pro. And so Chinsky and Dragota now with 4 wins out of 5 rounds on the season. For Dale Maxwell, that is win number 2 in a row for him. And it is going to be Mike Dam and Robert Schwenkler finishing second and third in Pro.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, that's impressive run that Leo Dragota seems to be on right now. Amazing race there for GT4 AM. I can't wait to talk to these guys.
And Larry, it looks like a couple of our race winners may have run out of fuel, possibly.
Yeah, don't want to take the chance on a cool down lap.
And apparently, somebody just dropped a signboard from the. Oh, that's a
I
hood.
think it's the hood from Ryan Haley, who didn't have a very good-looking BMW at the end of that race. Lots of action there on the last 2 laps.
Well, that hood looks spring-loaded. All right, yeah, let's take a look and see what happened to the BMW here. And we had it. All right, we're gonna take a look here at the Klimovich spin.
Oh, he just tried, came across that apex curbing, got the back end bouncing. He had to give it all the beans. He had to try it. Just wasn't there for him. I mean, I respect the attempt, and it was a clean attempt. It just didn't quite stick.
All right, so let's do this, Larry. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk to our race winners here tonight from Mexico City. You're watching the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge here on Apex Racing TV. Stay with us.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sportscar Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Not at the top of the order either, by the way. The race results, it's showing Pan here today at the top. There you go, cool. Welcome back, everybody. It is the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, the home of the Mexico City Grand Prix, and tonight's round number 5 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Challenge. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod, and let's take a look at that final order. In LMP3, taking his 4th win on the season for SRT Esport, it's Josh Chinsky, with Zach Herbert finishing 2nd, Michelle Squarick coming home in 3rd. Over in the GT4 ranks, taking the win in GT4 Pro, it's Leo Dragoto with win number 4 on the season for him. His teammate Mike Dam finishing 2nd, and the Wrong Stuff's Robert Schwenkler finishing in 3rd. And then in GT4 AM, Dale Maxwell from Slow Bros Racing takes win number, I believe that's win number 2 on the season for him. His main rival and teammate Michael Klimovich comes home in 2nd, and David Klimovich will come home in 3rd. All right, Larry, let's take a look. I think we got a couple folks waiting in the green room to talk to us. Let's first bring in our GT4 AM winner, driving the number 111 Slow Bros Ford Mustang. It's Dale Maxwell.
All right, we get to start the interviews out with the best race of the night, the GT4 AM battle. And Dale, you led the Slow Bro 1, 2, 3 finish there, but man, it was right up until the second to last lap. And the last lap, you and Michael put on a heck of a show. Tell me a little bit about what that was like with your teammate running for the win.
We planned it that way.
Of course.
Oh,
I don't know if he
Michael's making me sweat.
planned to finish 2nd or if he planned to finish 1st, but yeah.
I know he planned to scare the heck out of me, that's for sure.
Well, he did. He made that move, that great move late on the brakes on the second to last lap, and just couldn't quite hold that position. Did you know you had the Mustang seemed to be better coming out of the stadium all night long, and it looked like it showed. Is that what it felt like to you?
I had to brake early in that thing the entire race, or else I was going to burn out the tires. But so I broke a little early. I saw him go right. I just let him take it. I mean, if it was going to happen, it was going to happen. But it looked like he ended up getting a little squirrely through the chicane. So.
Yeah, but you managed to then take that outside line then as you got in deep into the stadium section where you make that left turn and be able to hold that there, even using a lot of the curbs. We're seeing him and a McLaren struggle a little bit. And then it showed again on the last lap again where you guys got side by side where he ends up using the curbs a little bit too much. Did the Mustang seem to be able to absorb those curbs a little bit better tonight than some of the other cars?
It seemed like the curbs. I mean, I didn't have any issue with the curbs really except during qualifying. I think I had the suspension soft enough to where it kind of absorbed it, and I'm used to it now. But towards the end of the stint for the fuel, when the fuel started getting down, it gets a little squirrely.
Yeah. Well, the only car I tested out this last week to get ready for tonight was the Mustang, and I found it's a lot of car to muscle around out here. But I'm glad that you've switched over to it, and kind of wish a few others had. I think it's a fascinating car, and certainly showing its pace here, being able to grab this win for you tonight. It's an awesome job for you, but I know you've got a big team, a lot of fans watching, a lot of friends probably, and family you want to give a shout out to?
Definitely Slow Bros. They're a really good group of guys to run with. I want to thank my wife, my mother-in-law, the rest of the family up in Washington. They're watching. Friends at work, Ricmotech, for putting on the series. You guys for hosting it. Again, it's just an awesome series to be in.
Yeah, well, appreciate the good comments, but it's always great in this series, and it's fun to watch you battling it out with teammates that right up until the last corner, the last lap. Beautiful stuff, and congrats on the win tonight for the Slow Bros in that Mustang. It's Dale Maxwell.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Larry, let's move over now to our LMP3 winner, taking the win tonight in the number 18 entry. It is... Well, who is it, Larry? Oh, that's
Josh
right.
Chinsky.
It's SRT Esports, Josh Chinsky.
All right, here with our LMP3 winner and overall race winner, it's Josh Chinsky. And Josh, heck of a night tonight, just putting on a clinic out there and just weaving through traffic. How did that feel like it went for you tonight?
Honestly, first lap was really sketchy. I was so worried about us going 3 or 4 wide into one that I missed my brake marker by like 50 meters, it felt like. And it turned into an awful next 3 corners. But thankfully was able to outbrake Zach into turn 4. And then it was just, I knew from there I had the set from practice sessions. I think Zach was running, it seemed like a low downforce set, and I was running a medium. So it kind of helped in the S's. But honestly, the temps were the scariest part of everything. In all of the practice that I done, all the practice sessions, it was like 120 degrees for the track temp. And for whatever reason, as soon as the temp dropped 20 plus degrees, my set turned into a trampoline. I can't even count the amount of times my car almost turned on its side.
Well, we actually just saw a replay as we were talking, of course, to Dale Maxwell, where you happen to be in the shot, and all we see is this bicycling LMP3 coming around the stadium section there. You just kind of get used to it after a while? You just know, like, yeah, it's going to come back down eventually?
For this set, yeah, I mean, after the first 3 times it happened, because I was like, you know what, maybe I just really screwed up this corner. Let me try it differently the next time and maybe go a little slower. It didn't help at all. And I was like, you know what, fine. I'm just going to try and avoid this curb completely. Lost like 500ths, but it was like, hey, it's either safe lap and make it to the end, or it's, like you said, try and do my best imitation of an LMP3 being a bicycle.
Well, the latter seemed to work just fine.
Yeah, it was awful.
Well, it definitely paid off for you. Great pace tonight, racking up another victory here in the series. And they're never easy to come by. Zach had pace, Michelle had pace. They seem to struggle a little bit with the traffic tonight, but we know that their pace can certainly be there. Is that what you were expecting?
I honestly was expecting to be under pressure for almost the entirety of the race. I mean, I felt comfortable here. I didn't know if I was going to have race winning pace. And I was so concerned about the traffic. I mean, that was the biggest thing for me. Because you're right. I mean, Zach's got pace. Michelle has pace. They're both really fast drivers that keep me on my toes every week. But yeah, I mean, I think there were just a lot of times I got really lucky with traffic as being the leader, of where I kind of got to negotiate around how I wanted to after a few laps. Whereas as the chasing car, and I've been in that position of where you're pretty much just, you get the hand that you're dealt. And Mexico multi-class is just weird. But I'll take this over what's coming up in 2 races for Zandvoort. I'm not looking forward to Zandvoort multi-class.
Well, before we get to there, of course, we'll have our I think we're going to be in Austria, I think, in the rain in 2 weeks, so that'll be interesting. for
I
what
can't
we're going
wait.
to do with here in this series. That'll be a lot of fun. But I know you've got friends and family, and I know teammates. In fact, Stephen Hudek's in the chat here cheering you on here tonight. But I know you're probably going to give all those folks a good shout out for helping you get the win tonight.
Absolutely. Firstly, shout out to my mom and dad for always watching the races and supporting. It means the world to me that you guys appreciate what I do. And actually, my mom's turned into a little bit of a fan herself, of where it's not just supporting the son; she actually enjoys it. Steven, appreciate you for spotting me for almost every single race this season. It's great to have an eye in the sky as I'm driving around, so I don't have to worry about any surprises, except the one at turn 16 that came right around the corner in front of the pit lane. That was terrifying. Shout out to John. Again, you and your freaking setups are just absolutely amazing. I couldn't have the pace that I do without having an amazing set builder behind me. So kind of tying that in, shout out to SRT for you guys. I wouldn't be the racer I am without you guys always pushing me to my hardest. We got some absolutely fantastic people over there. Caleb, Steven, Kevin, we've got a bunch of people over in the LMP2s, but hope to be joining them after this season. And then shout out to Penn Station East Coast subs. Like I said, this car was freaking fast. And since it is spooky season, that ghost pepper cheese still there, and it's delicious. And then lastly, Apex. Appreciate you guys. Can't wait to watch this broadcast back. I enjoy watching everything, the support that you guys give, and then XMS for putting together a great league.
Yeah, it's a good one to call. This was a lot of fun, and you're putting on a show for us to call. It makes it really easy to do our job. So great job tonight. Josh Jinsky, your winner in LMP3 from SRT Esport.
Thanks, Larry.
All right, Larry, and looks like Leo Dragota just managed to make it to the green room after having to push his Porsche all the way around the circuit on the cooldown lap, as it looks like he might have run out of fuel right after the checkered flag.
Yeah, it's all downhill. It's easy.
That exactly. Let's move over to the driver, the number 118 Orion Racing Porsche Cayman, tonight's winner in GT4. It's Leo Dragota.
All right, joining us here is your victor in the GT4 Pros. That, of course, Leo Dragota. Leo really put on a clinic tonight here, just pulled away from the field. We were taking bets earlier whether or not you just bought the track this week, or if maybe you did actually put some time in. You looked like you put in hours and hours just grinding away because you were dominant. But I got to know, did you just buy the track yesterday?
Well, I didn't put much practice in, leading up to this race, but about 2 weeks ago and leading up to this race, I've been sweating this track in GT3s, and then 2 weeks ago I did sweat in officials, so I know the track, but I didn't think the Porsche was going to be this fast, but it was pretty fast because I ran the Bimmer in officials. But yeah, I just noticed I had good pace in practice, and just kind of took it easy in the race. Just tried to get good points.
Yeah, the Porsche, watching it versus the other cars, seemed to really be comfortable over the curbs. And we watched some of the others, specifically the McLarens. They seem to struggle on the curbs a lot. Even the Mercedes, we saw a few cars spinning, touching those curbs. Is that your feel? Also, the Porsche seemed to really be able to use them a little bit better than some of the other cars.
Yeah, it's good through the curbs. It lacks some rotation, but it makes up for using the curbs. It can use kind of any part of the curb, unlike some of the other GT4s. So, if you don't get the turn into a turn and you hit the curb wrong, it's not gonna do anything to the car, I feel like. So, the Porsche is really, really stable. It's always quick.
Yeah, it looked just absolutely under control tonight, and really you just kept pulling him further away. Mike had some issues behind you, and he just kept fading. He just had no answer, as nobody else did either. It was kind of an impressive show for you just pulling it away, and really fun to watch tonight. But what I'm looking forward to is the rain in 2 weeks when we head over to Austria to the Red Bull Ring. Have you done much there in the rain in these GT4s?
I've done some rain driving the GT4s. I haven't driven Austria in quite a bit, but I'm up for the challenge. Got to make up for RWC's rain race when I spun out of the lead. But yeah, just put some practice in. Hopefully, come out the same result.
Yeah, see, Greg, that's what you're dealing with good drivers when they have an infinite memory from mistakes and they never remember the stuff that they did right. So that's what Leo's done here. So Leo, awesome job here tonight, and I'm sure
Good thing,
that
Larry, you and I never set a foot wrong ever.
done my share. But yeah, Leo, awesome job here tonight. Just dominant, absolutely overwhelming victory here. But I know you've got a big team and some friends and family that like to watch along.
Yeah, Ryan, Huffy, you guys for the league. I mean, you guys for broadcasting. Everybody at the league for putting it on. Big shout out to my parents for investing so much time in karting for me and Lucas. Starting to get some good results now, so hopefully we can carry that next year. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, well, awesome job. And we're gonna have to check out if they can ever drop by one of your kart races. I'd like to actually check those out. Kart racing is a ton of fun, and I know you guys probably run at the front there, just like you do here in the Ricmotech series. But awesome job tonight. Another victory for you, Leo Dragotta from Orion Racing, getting the win here in GT4 Pro. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up the interviews, Larry, and I think you've already kind of spilled the beans, but let's take a look at what we've got coming up in the next couple of weeks across our different Ricmotech series. Next week, of course, it's season 14 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. And for round number 5, well, we don't have to go very far. We're going to stay right here. And we've
At
got
the
another
Pollos
race.
Hermanos?
Yes, yes, sirree. One more week in Mexico City, in Mexico. And then in 2 weeks, you said it, we're going to be heading to Austria for round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge. And it is going to be at the Red Bull Ring in the rain. And we'll see how much of a memory Leo Dragotta has. As he had some challenges in the wet at Sebring a couple weeks ago. And then in 3 weeks, November 17th, the World Challenge heads to Imola for a 75-minute race. And that is round number 6 of the World Challenge. All races starting at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. So for Larry Lefty McLeod, for Jim Cunningham behind the buttons, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and we'll see you next week right here from Mexico City. Have a great week, everybody.